Hello, good evening, many thanks, and welcome to another edition of Journalist Hangout. I am Citizen Jones. Today on the program, Kudos knocks trail Obasanjo's right up to Buhari, and southern states shun federal government's request for land for cattle colonies. And I'll be hanging out with Baba Jide Kolade Otistoju. Jide, welcome.
Welcome.
We also have Ishmael Omikpidon. I greet you. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
And no less so is Adekule Yusuf. Thanks for joining us.
I'm glad to be here.
Okay then, we are ready to go. I hope you are too. All right then, the messenger may be mischievous and the message itself troublous, but the nervousness in the country says it all. Somebody must break the ice. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo is not new to these things. He's the most prolific letter-writing president we have ever had and could ever have. Our checks reveal that the outer-born soldier-turned-politician had written to almost every hemsman from Alhaji Shehu Shagari through Ibrahim Babangida and now to the incumbent Muhammadu Buhari. But is the Nigerian dealing with a patriot or an opportunist? We are going to tear the bag this evening. Jide, let's start with you. I'll take you first to Ekiti State. Fayose says the letter of Obasanjo to President Buhari is not just belated, but self-serving. That's the way he sees it.
I think Fayose will be happier if someone else wrote it. I will be happier if someone else wrote it. Because Obasanjo, as we all know, even if some of us will not admit it, is an hypocrite. A lot of the things that Obasanjo talked about here, he was guilty of as president of this country. Obasanjo talks about insecurity as part of the lies of poor performance in government. But in our most recent history, there has been no time that political assassinations that we witness the level of political assassinations that we witnessed under Obasanjo. In fact, Professor Wole Soyinka called the PDP that Obasanjo led as the nest of killers on the day Bola Ige was buried.
I remember that statement.
So Bola Ige was his friend that he brought into government, yet he couldn't stop Bola Ige from being murdered. Dikibo, all kinds of people were killed.
Harry Marshall.
That man, the former was the chairman of BCC, Benue Cement Company, Agwam, what's his name?
Okay, Andrew Agom.
Andrew Agom.
Andrew Agom,
yes.
Yeah.
He was killed. He was traveling with the governor. Then he was shot.
Until date, nobody
Nothing,
has been apprehended.
Unsolved. The highest number of unsolved murders in our history happened under Obasanjo. The biggest corruption cases in our history happened under Obasanjo. I hear people say, oh, good Lord Jonathan. In fact, some Nigerians so lack a sense of history that they even say good Lord Jonathan looted more than Abacha. So I'm not surprised that such people will not know that the biggest corruption cases in our history happened under Obasanjo. National ID card, Halliburton, Siemens. Obasanjo does not have the moral standing to be saying all that he's saying. Yes, what he's saying, we are not saying it's not true. Even we have talked about what he's been saying. But Obasanjo is not the Nigerian God. He may be the Nigerian God of impunity, but he is not the Nigerian God. So he cannot now arrogate to himself the power to choose leaders for Nigerians, because he now thinks that every time he comes up one year to election, he comes up to demarcate a president that Nigerians always listen to him. No, the fact that it happened with Jonathan, you cannot take the credit. It gauges the mood of the people. Everyone is angry now because of the killings in Benue. So it gauges the mood of the people and they just write.
So you explain to the gallery?
Yes, that's exactly what he's doing.
Okay. Kunle Yusuf, let's stick with the Fayose. He goes on to say that this same Buhari was brought to us by Obasanjo and an unnamed cabal.
Yeah, what Fayose said was that he agreed with almost everything in the letter, but he said Obasanjo and Buhari are part of expired drugs that cannot cure the multifarious diseases, afflicting our country. That anything from him, he wouldn't take. But he said, Fayose, you remember, was very vociferous against the emergence of President Muhammadu Buhari. If you remember, you will see wraparound, adverts, everything, some of them in very foul, but he's on record that at least he told us that this man will not be the Messiah. So he was trying to say, okay, I warned you, you didn't listen to me, and that now it serves you right, something like that. But the truth is that I am not one of those people that we focus on the messenger and abandon the message.
The message.
No, I'm not. Because most of those things in the letter are things that agitate my mind. Yeah. And I've seen quite, a number of people who have told me that the man actually spoke their mind. Go on social media, see everything. See, Obasanjo may have this. Let's remove Obasanjo. He's had his way. He's had his time. But now, most of what is happening now are self-inflicted. Some people said Obasanjo loves to make some other people look stupid. Nobody can make you look stupupid.
Without your permission.
Yes, if this government has handled most of this crisis very well. Look at this issue of, we started with cattle rustling, then later, herdsmen, clean, farmer clash, and all those things. We haven't handled this matter very well, and this government knows it. So just that one, issue alone is enough to cause this government a lot of goodwill. Nigerians, when they elected Buhari, they really put a lot of hopes on him. They believe that at least of all the leaders we've had, this is one that will help this country, to transform this country.
At least on the day of inauguration, yes, almost everybody said, we need a new face.
Yes. And by the time Buhari came, it was like we've never had a president in the last, in the past. Buhari was, the level of goodwill was unprecedented. I expected him to go along that path, don't lose it. You already have it. Many presidents will come around and be struggling to have the public goodwill. Buhari got it even without being elected. Then he brought it into office. Then the thing started when it took almost eternity to compose a team. Yeah. Then he went on by selecting people from his own small geographical space, to fill certain posts. And when people queried, what did he say? Oh, these are people I know, these are people I trust. And before you know it, it got escalated with time, and see what has happened. Believe me, the time is not too short to change a lot of things.
Yeah. Ismail, Obasanjo, in his letter, lamented President Buhari's squandering of goodwill, but wonders why he didn't seek help. Seek help from where?
Well, maybe he believes that he probably should have, consulted persons that he should know. One of the challenges I have observed personally about President Buhari is this attitude of this Mr. A is a thief, and because he's a thief, I will have no business to do with him. Forgetting that all of us Nigerians cannot be rogues. All of us Nigerians cannot be thieves. You cannot say because I belong to PDP, for instance, then you just condemn me as a criminal.
Yeah.
Forgetting that among the so-called criminals in PDP, you have some of them in your party APC, and you relate with them. So if you can't relate with them, why can't you relate with, those outside of it? Now, one other thing that I find curious about Obasanjo's letter, I stand to be corrected, is that when he wrote his letter to Jonathan in December 2013, he stated clearly that he had to make that last letter public because he had written 2 previous ones that were unreplied to. But in this case, he didn't tell us if he had made an attempt to see him or if he had written one. And so I am very sure that is one of the reasons why some persons, are being circumspect about the real motive behind, the letter. But having said that, while I agree with Mr. Jide that the biggest corruption may have happened under Obasanjo, but we should also not forget that under him, he brought persons that ordinarily should not have been touched to book. IG Tafa, a serving IG, we saw what happened to him. His very close friend, Afolabi, we saw what happened to him. Wabara, the then Senate president, we saw what happened to him. So I think...
don't forget his own...
Governor Dari.
How about his cousin? You can go on and on about that. How about his cousin?
I want to hide under...
His cousin that he refused, the PAMSEC of Ministry of Defense.
Well, I want to hide under
he refused to put on trial for 431...
I want to hide under what...
I told you he was not totally a saint.
I'm not saying he's a saint.
He ordered nolle prosequi. He ordered nolle prosequi for Mark Onjuola, who was PAMSEC in the Ministry of Defense. But Mark Onjuola was his own cousin. So, and there were other people that refused to put on trial.
By that time, there was no EFCC.
Wait, assuming...
Some people cannot go on trial.
By that time,
we didn't have DFU. We didn't have
assuming
SFU.
it is correct.
It's only EFCC that can put people on trial.
Assuming it is correct. Since the sacking of Babache Lawa, what is stopping him from being put on trial? We have people who are very close to Buhari, whom allegations of corruption have been raised against. They have not been touched, let alone arrested. When they were making recoveries, Jafaru Issa was among those that was invited by the EFCC. The only thing we had was that he made some refunds. And he was let to go.
The rest is history.
I mean, the rest is history. There are some of these issues that are very glaring that we have not seen the president taking action on.
Okay. Don't forget, the theme is Obasanjo's letter to Buhari receives kudos and knocks. Yeah.
So now, when you look at the problem, a lot of our people do not understand Obasanjo very well. For 4 persons that Obasanjo put on trial, there could be 20 more that he refused to put on trial. The senior Saraki, EFCC completed the investigation about him over the looting of Societe Generale. Yeah. They used depositors' funds to buy shares for themselves at Societe Generale. EFCC did all the work. Obasanjo did not allow no Ribadu to put the late Olusola Saraki on trial. That's not all. Even Bode George, no Ribadu will testify if you give him the Holy Quran, in which case he will have no choice but to say the truth. He will testify that Obasanjo was literally had to be blackmailed before that trial can happen. Blackmailed in form of a cover story by a leading news magazine. By that time, the thing had leaked. So they felt a need to put this fellow on trial. But the truth is, during Obasanjo's time, we were importing petrol. Just the same way we are doing now. What did he do to help us out of that problem? And he had 8 years. During his time...
he was Minister of Petroleum.
And he was Minister of Petroleum. This attitude of presidents assuming the position of Minister of Petrol, it was Obasanjo that brought that negative attitude that others now inherited. During his time, EFCC's account was not audited for 8 years throughout the time that Obasanjo was there. They are talking about insecurity. What can be worse than going to a place like Zaki Biam and just slaughtering people, and soldiers just slaughtering people?
And the other place in Bayelsa?
Yes, Odi. You know, so a lot of things happened. For every item that you mentioned here, I don't need an Obasanjo to be my moral compass. I don't need an Obasanjo to tell me what's wrong in my country, because I talk about it. All of these issues, the mishandling of the herdsmen issues, we've been talking about it here. Yeah. We've been making suggestions. Yeah. We don't need an Obasanjo to tell us. Because what did he do even during his time? I can't be convinced now that as a leader, he led us well. Because he didn't bring us out of darkness. Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, he watched it for 8 years killing people. Until Goodluck Jonathan came, when we started doing that road. So what are we talking about? Yet he will go and be writing epistles and be talking about other people. This one is bad. Since Shagari, we have never had a leader that Obasanjo left alone. Go and read Shagari's book and read what Shagari wrote about Obasanjo.
Abacha, he claimed.
Those ones decided to put him in prison because they were not going to be patient for him to be bad-mouthing them.
Yusuf, he claims 4 years ago when he tore his PDP membership card, he had said good night to politics, but for love of country, Africa, and the world. He's doing this. You are not persuaded, or are you?
He's persuaded.
You couldn't possibly say everything about
not
OBJ.
You see, the kind of discourse we do, when this man wrote against Jonathan at the time, many people applauded him. Many people saw him as a hero.
Many people also
because whatever, yes, that is how life is. Yeah. There will always be positive and negative. Yes. But largely, he was commended. And that letter helped a lot in dismantling the administration of Jonathan.
I'm making Buhari win.
He helped one way or the other, whatever anybody will say. This one is a totally different affair. Believe me, I've always been seen as a pro-Muhammadu Buhari person. Believe me, I've been a fan of Muhammadu Buhari for a long time. I personally would not want an almost 80-year-old, person, wanted to lead me as president of Nigeria. Whether it's earth, it's sand, is in a country that can boast, that is blessed with, very many educated, vibrant minds. Believe me, I wouldn't want to say that. I've been saying this every time, in spite of the fact that I know his limitations, I know what he's been able to do, but as we speak, I wouldn't want a Muhammadu Buhari of almost 80 years old by the time we approach election contesting. Believe me, it is not even good for his own health. People will say, I've had people discuss that if he contests, it will complete the sloth of the north and that power will come to the south. I don't see power coming to the south, even after Buhari, if you've spent 8 years. Because new arguments will always come up, politicians. But what we need in Nigeria is actually not south. We need somebody who is modern in terms of, mindset, somebody who is educated enough, north, anywhere he will emerge from. Believe me, somebody who can galvanize us together. We have abundant talents in Nigeria, from the north to the south. I don't want to see a president that, everybody will be saying, oh, he has divided us more than, So I don't want to see a president. Look at what President Muhammadu Buhari did. Look at his security team. That's a dangerous precedent he has set. Today, tomorrow, you elect an Igbo man, you can as well go to Nnewi and populate his entire, security apparatus with his own caseman. And when you want to raise an issue, they will tell you they have a president they are calling. So all these issues are what more. Look at this, Asmen, issue. You see an IG, even though he apologized, based on record, what he said. The police and other security agencies are not helping this administration in terms of intelligence gathering, in terms of gauging the mood of the country, in terms of advising the president very well. But no head has rolled. Nobody has been sacked.
Well, I defer to Gidi when he says, it is not yet night, if you understand that.
Yes, I do.
So let's exploit this proverbial slant. Obasanjo went proverbial. He said, when lice abound in your clothes, your fingernails will never be dried of blood. When I was at the village to make sure lice die, you put them between two fingers and press hard, and so on, that the lice are not harbored anywhere within your vicinity. So it's a so can we relate it to what we're saying?
Well, I think the thing is, Obasanjo may not be a good example of do as I say. Do as I do. Yeah. He may be a good example of do as I say, because I, for one, as young as I am, as small as I am, I believe very strongly that Obasanjo squandered the opportunity of putting this country on the right path for the 8 years he spent. And I'm sure he realized it at some point. That was where he was desperate about the third term. Having said that, for me, I don't see age as inhibiting performance. Yeah. Because, I want to make that point very clear, because before now, when an Obama happened on the scene, we were talking about generation shift, whatever. Yeah. But the last US election, both Hillary Clinton and Trump, who eventually won, were in their 70s. They are old people. So I think that debate, to me, appears to have changed. And in any case, Reagan, at the point when he was US president, was an old man. He performed well. The problem we have with Buhari, and I think those of us who love him should tell him this, and if there's anything he can do about it, he should do it fast. The problem we have about him is that we have come to realize that he's not in charge. That's the fact. Let's face the fact. We may not want to accept it. If Buhari had demonstrated to Nigerians that he's actually in charge and he can do what we want him to do, perhaps a lot of us may not be complaining.
I don't want to doubt your sense of history. Can you recall at any point in this time, in this country, any point in our life and history, when Mr. President had been his man? Had been in charge?
Of course.
And seen to be in charge?
Yes. Yaradua. Yaradua.
Bless his soul.
May God bless his soul. You know, before he came in, Obasanjo, who facilitated his emergence, had sold our refineries to Dangote and who I can't remember. Did he not reverse it?
Yeah.
He did. And there were so many other things Obasanjo did, which in fact, I remember late Cantibello. Late Cantibello, one-on-one, he said, look, that if your father is a madman, you don't come to the public to
tell the viewer who Cantibello was. Or
Cantibello, it's a former federal lawmaker from Katsina. Okay. He claimed to have brought Buhari into politics because he was formerly of the ENPP before he jumped to PDP. Okay. You know, now he did say at some point that, look, if your father is a madman, you don't come to the public to denigrate him. You find a way of managing him, that whatever misgivings they may have about Obasanjo, that they should not come to the public to, you know, say things about, but they should find a way of managing him. What I'm trying to say is that even those around Yaradua at some point felt that he was going too far in some of his actions against, you know, Obasanjo. And even the Obasanjo himself, don't forget when he came to power, we know those who helped him to come to power. But we were in this country when Obasanjo was going after IBB's son. There was nothing. In fact, if not that IBB is smarter than him.
Invariably, you are saying IBB is one of those who brought him to power.
Of course. I mean, it's an open truth. So I'm trying to buttress my argument that we have had presidents who have at least
been their own
men. And Buhari has the opportunity. Buhari can be, because those who are close to him, his ministers, from the discussions we have had with them, it's not as if he doesn't know what is happening around him. But what we find difficult is why he has refused to take decisive action. For example, Babachi Lawal, it took Buhari a very long time to decide to let that man go, even when he's been confronted with facts concerning what the man has been doing. You get me? If today, majority of Nigerians, especially those who love Buhari, admitted that his chief of staff is one of his greatest abattoirs.
Yeah. Yeah.
If today Buhari wakes up to fire that man, I tell you, his rating will soar.
Yes.
His rating will soar.
And
this chief of
If you can just stack like 3 or
I agree with you.
And this chief of
let them
staff,
go.
Buhari's wife has complained about him. In
El-Rufai.
fact, if you look at El-Rufai's letter, El-Rufai's letter is more toxic. It's more toxic than Obasanjo's letter. The only difference is that Obasanjo's one is coming from the outside. Go and read. There's nothing Obasanjo has said in his letter that El-Rufai did not say. So those who are in APC and who are close to power, they know some of the limitations of the man. They themselves are complaining, and they are also at a loss as to why. Look, the chief of staff, for example, as old as he is, we all know the job of a chief of staff is enormous. But in spite of the fact that that job is enormous, this man found his way on the board of NNPC. For whatever reason, I do not know. What does he want to be doing there? So these are some of the things that Nigerians are angry over. And the day Buhari decides to sit up and take charge, I tell you, a lot of us will ask Obasanjo to go and sit down.
Jide, whereas Obasanjo in his letter to Mr. President admits that his PDP is no better, he wants patriots to join him and constitute a third force to take the country to the dreamland. Is that a tall dream?
Nobody will join him on any third force.
That's your
Nobody will join him on any third force. Obasanjo does not have electoral value. That is a fact. That, from history, we know that's a fact. The truth is, he wants the PDP to die. Why? Because when Sheriff visited him in Abeokuta, he said, you will be the undertaker of PDP. So he was playing the doomsday prophet on that day. But as fate will have it, the McCarthy faction won that case in court. Because Obasanjo is a very vindictive person. He's not happy with them. He would rather want their party to die, especially with people like Fayose that he doesn't like and Wike running the show. So he now took things further to say, okay, you people procured a judgment from the Supreme Court. At that age, you don't expect people to be making wild allegations, because I'm sure that if they call him to come and defend, to come and prove that indeed that judgment was procured, Obasanjo would not be able to bring evidence. So naturally, he shouldn't have even said that. But we know that he said that because he would rather want the PDP to die. Then the APC, he does not like the APC. So he would rather want APC to die. So he's thinking of a third force. Which third force? Is it that easy to set up a political party and mobilize? It's not that easy. So, and it is not on every occasion when you don't like a president that you should wish that the party should die. In America, please let me make this point. Okay. In America, they've had two dominant parties. This party will do 4 years, another party will come. That's how the democracy has evolved over time. Yeah. So what is the point? What is wrong in having two strong parties? Why is he thinking that, oh, it has to be a third party with barely a year to election?
All right, let me take, sorry, Joe, we in Borno State, we have kept you. Welcome, how are you?
Good evening, gentlemen.
Yeah, welcome, sir.
Thank you, sir. I am Jeremiah from Borno State.
All right, Jeremiah.
Yeah, considering the topic you people are discussing, to talk through, I really commend the effort of our current president, but considering his health and other, the physical challenge he's having, Buhari has come of age, and it is better he give way, just like the former president has advised him. And also, I want Mr. Jide to give me an answer to this. Why is it that he is always anti-Obasanjo? Because he always talks against Obasanjo and some of the good things he have done for this country.
I always talk about the good things. So, Bola Ige and Co, who were killed, those are not good, things that I should talk about. I mean, I will not lie against him. Anything I say about Obasanjo is the truth, with facts. So the truth is, as a leader, he did his best. He brought GSM and all that. But as a leader too, he also made mistakes. For example, the power sector, it was 6 months to Obasanjo leaving office that he started thinking of building power plants. That's why it's good Lord Jonathan that actually, because immediately Yaradua came in, he stopped all the IPPs, independent power projects. It was good Lord Jonathan who started building Olonshogo, Papalanto, Geregu, and all of those things. He spent 8 years. He was sinking money on NEPA, and he didn't achieve anything.
Just to, Jerry, Jide is not talking about Obasanjo the man, but Obasanjo the politician.
Yes.
They are two different.
When I was praising him here yesterday, that there's no African leader who has his stature in international politics, people were happy. But today now...
No, Jerry was not at home.
Or maybe he wasn't watching TV.
You forgive him. Yeah, Yusuf.
So I'm not obligated to praise Obasanjo every time.
You see, there's nothing you can say about any leader in this country. They have their positive sides and their negative sides.
Yeah.
No, if anybody comes out to say Obasanjo is a disaster in government, all true, I wouldn't subscribe to that. There are some of the good things he did, and the mistakes are also as many. That's, by the way, my concern for now is no longer Obasanjo. It's about this administration. That goodwill that brought him to office, this president can still reenact. He can still salvage.
Never too late.
It's never too late.
Never too late.
And when you read the letter, it wasn't as with this finality tone like the one he wrote to Jonathan. Yes. He even put it there. Many of these things that we are saying, read the letter very well. Obasanjo even said that you may not even heed my advice. And he never said anybody should join. He said Nigeria that young people they can come around and do this, and that if he feels he likes them, he can lend his support. And the moment they want to be nominating for election or they want to become a political party, then he will step back. So many of these things may not even bother. My concern is how this administration will not fail, because there is still time. A year before election is a long time. Yeah. This administration can salvage everything.
We've been telling the president what to do.
But
we've been telling him what to do. What we have said here, we have even used harsher words than Obasanjo.
Of course.
Because we've been saying it that, look, sack 3 out of those individuals around you who are misleading you. And Nigerians will be happy because they know that the selfishness of the people who work for the president, the selfishness is astounding. And we are saying that...
Mention 3 names.
I don't have to mention names, but we know them. We are saying that let's sack them.
We are saying that I'd rather we took a break here. We should be back very shortly. Please don't go away. Please. All right, then, let's keep it going. The former president acknowledges that praise singers and hired attackers may be raised against him. Is he putting them on notice?
No, we assume that what happened during Jonathan was what happened. And just as I said yesterday, they don't need to abuse him. The president's media aides don't need to abuse him. He raised some valid points. I'm not saying that anything that Obasanjo said is a lie. In fact, all those things that he's been saying, we have been saying it here. I personally have challenged the president. We know how we've been talking about
except that you came short of writing a letter.
Yeah, you see, I don't have the talent to write letter like Obasanjo. I would rather use my mouth to talk to the president. If he chooses not to listen, well, no problem. But we've been talking to him. We've been telling him, do this is what Nigerians want to see. No doubt about it on this program. So the Obasanjo did not lie against the president. The only thing that I personally think that he lacks the moral standing to do that, because when I look back as a historian at how Obasanjo ran Nigeria for 8 years, a lot of what he's complaining about now, he was also guilty of. If you are talking about killings, you found that the economy was stagnant, he was guilty of a lot of those things. Infrastructure decay, we had tremendous opportunity under Obasanjo to fix infrastructure. Even the road leading to Ota, where he's based, he refused to fix that road.
I hear till now.
It's a lot worse now. It's a lot worse now. You know, so and when people say, okay, even in the East is known for bad roads in Nigeria. All of those years that Obasanjo spent in power, He didn't do anything about the East. The railway, he made so much noise about the railway, but he didn't do anything about railway until Goodluck Jonathan came, and then President Buhari also finished what Jonathan. So when I see some of I underlined some of what he was saying, and I told myself, yes, Obasanjo, you didn't lie against Buhari. Buhari has not done so well. Even Baba Konde admitted that our party has not done so well. So he said he's a liar who will stand before TV screens and be saying, no, this president is smelling roses. No, we have also complained. The complaints that Obasanjo made, we have also made those complaints. But does he have the moral standing? That is my own quarrel. That is my own issue. That it shouldn't be him. If a Donald Duke will stand up and say all of that, I will be very happy. I will be very happy because he never had opportunity to serve Nigeria and didn't do it well. But not this man.
Gentlemen, I just heard from the back room that the presidency has reacted. And interestingly, giving kudos to former President Obasanjo, thank him for the letter. Yes. That's a breaking story.
I know.
I advised them yesterday not to abuse him.
That is good, because the reason why I'm saying it's good is this. There's nothing, I don't know the type of defense they probably would have offered. The only thing they probably would have done is to take the man to cleaners. Because, of course, like Mr. Jide said, the man had his own bad past. But again, we said Jonathan was not doing well. That was why we embraced change. So for crying out loud, if we embrace change, we should see the change. It is because we believe that those past periods were not good enough for us. That was why we wanted the change. And don't forget, Nigerians must put at the back of their mind that it's not everything about the Buhari administration so far that is bad. Apart from some of these appointments, you know,
and these killings,
and even the killings. I said it sometimes, and some persons were saying, am I trying to justify? I'm not trying to justify the killings. I'm not trying to just, but even the killings, if we look at the scale of the killings, especially this Fulani headsman thing, honestly speaking, check the records. I mean, they had been happening before Buhari.
Have been happening, yes.
Before Buhari became president.
It's his response to it that Nigerians don't like.
His response to it.
He has not handled it well.
His response to it, and the attempt by some Nigerians to change the narrative to say that, because he's a Fulani man.
It's his response to it that is encouraging people to say that.
If you look at agriculture, for example, we have Nigerians who ordinarily would not have gone near agriculture. Today they have embraced agriculture, and it was because of the administration's,
300,000 farmers,
policy.
Growers program.
Last year, I was privileged for the first time to eat the lake rice.
Okay.
But for Buhari, we probably would not have had, anything called, lake rice. So we must give him credit for some of the things he's doing.
But even that
the lake rice belongs to
that program. The integrated rice farms and all that started under Jonathan.
Fine.
With Akinwumi, the minister.
That raised the bar.
So
it started under Jonathan.
The rice revolution started.
But the result we are seeing now, we did not see it under Jonathan.
Because government is a continuum. The integrated rice farms that the government of Jonathan with Akinwumi got banks to guarantee loans for them. To set up is what helped the
we must not forget that Abakaliki has.
It's always been there.
It's not new. That's like our father.
So what I'm saying, we can take advantage too.
We can.
And boost.
Now, we raised the issue of about third force.
Yes.
The type of third force that some Nigerians are thinking about. For me, if there's anything like that for now, I think they should concentrate their energy on how to win seats in the National Assembly. Because as it is today, contrary to what Obasanjo said, Nigerians must choose between APC and PDP as far as the presidency is concerned. To say that one third force will come and emerge,
can't take power.
I don't see it happening. Except if they plan to dismantle APC
and move to
and then dismantle PDP, then get discondu elements from APC,
to form
get from PDP to form.
Even
but even that too,
is not
even that too, may not be easily achievable. So I want to advise. So I want to advise Nigerians that look, whosoever is behind the third force must prepare and make sure that they try their hands on governorship, try their hands on State House of Assembly, try their hands on National Assembly, and let's see how to support either of the big parties for the presidency.
Yusuf, we can expand the field some more. I'm looking at the man at the helm, at the center, and it is said a team is as good as the teammate, as the captain too. Judge Weah submitted a list of ministers the day after inauguration, apparently. So is it about
He's teaching our president how to do it.
No. Is it about the man at the helm or about the teammates?
It's about the man at the helm. Because the man at the helm brought
the teammates.
His cabinet. So more or less, what you see in the cabinet may be some of the reflections of the man who chose them. So President Muhammadu Buhari, there are some of the good hands in his cabinet, especially the technocrats, but not all of them are actually performing. So he has enough time to rejig that cabinet. He should go back to the security team. Some of them will have to go because he knows that some of them are not doing what they should do to help his administration. So when we talk about insecurity, it's because of the failure of these security agencies. So, so it's because of the failure of some of these security agencies. So when you remember when at the inception of Muhammadu Buhari's administration, we were on this program. When Boko Haram, crisis escalated, we raised an alarm here that the problem will continue because Muhammadu Buhari continued with the old service chiefs that he should have, had his own service. And within 2-3 days, what happened? He responded. These are the kind of actions Nigerians want to see from their president, that when they make complaints, especially valid complaints, he should, reflect on them. And within action, I don't want to hear from him that he is not in a hurry to do. Nigeria is suffering.
We need a president to be in a hurry.
We need a president who is in a hurry to fix Nigeria.
Yes.
We need a president who is in a hurry to develop Nigeria. But when we are suffering, we have too numerous problems.
If they say Nigerians are a long-suffering people, it is saying Nigerians are willing to allow you make amends.
Yes.
It is never too late.
Yes, that's the point I was trying to make. That the letter is not the end of Muhammadu Buhari's administration. And anybody that's castigating Obasanjo is not actually helping Buhari. This letter is, you said if Donald Duke did it. If Donald Duke had written it, it won't carry this. No, if Donald Duke had written that letter, it won't carry this weight. But if an Obasanjo, speaks, what happened? So this is an opportunity for Muhammadu Buhari to right all the wrongs. It's so easy to salvage his presidency. In fact, he has too much opportunity now.
If he takes just
he has second chance. That's the way I would put it.
So if he takes one or two actions, things can change.
Ismail, we talk about political correctness as a form of tyranny. So we don't want to be politically correct at this point. Let's do what's right. That's the gospel you are selling here.
For now, he has to do because whatever action he takes now, like he has not told us he wants to recontest. Let's give him that. I know that people around him are of the view that he should recontest. But whatever, if he takes action now, decisive ones, on this matter, I tell you, the day he says he's recontesting, Nigerians will clap for him.
As a matter of fact, his media aide, our friend and colleague Femi Adesina, said, "My Oga has a habit of listening to himself. He's particular about his health for the time being."
Yes.
So, which I think is key.
Yes, and I've said that before, that it is the president's state of health that will determine whether he will contest or not. He has not told anybody that he will contest. The only thing close to that he said in Kano was, look, the crowd that I see today, if I decide to contest, I'm sure I will win.
And when he went to Kudos,
so he has not told anybody that he will contest. If he will contest, fine. If he will not contest, is not the only one who can run Nigeria. There are people who can run our country and
even from his party.
Now, the only thing is, because people, this question, they asked me this question yesterday, whether the APC can find someone who can win for them, given that they are the party in power and Nigerians always like supporting the underdog, whether they can find someone within the APC who can actually deliver victory is what I cannot say. In my view, Buhari is the one who can readily give victory to the APC. If Buhari does not contest, it will be a toss, or how do they say it? Between a toss-up. It will be a toss-up between the PDP and the APC. In fact, the PDP guys are praying because that's the person that they fear.
There are cynics who would say even the PDP might be in a quandary. Who do you present?
There are people, there are good candidates.
Okay.
There are good candidates.
Let's not close the mind that it's only in APC that you can find.
No. I never said so. I never said so. Yeah.
Even in the PDP, there are some good Nigerians who can do a great job, just as you have in the APC. The truth is just that this idea of limiting ourselves, because in Nigeria, we always limit ourselves. Oh, it must be, the president must come from the north. Oh, no, it must come from the south. Whereas, if you fix electricity and you enjoy it, it won't show whether a northerner or a southerner did it. If your educational system, is brought back to what it used to be, the color will not, the language will not be...
It is the politicians who are dividing
us. Those issues are part of the problem that we just limit ourselves. Within APC, within PDP, we can get, good guys, many of the people that can do good job.
Yeah,
some of them we know.
Actually, it's not about the party, it's about the man.
It's about the individual.
It's about the man. And talking about the man, honestly, with the situation we find ourselves in this country, I believe that whoever we have as president, must not necessarily be too soft. Because Nigeria, we need high on what some people call high on.
You grammar people will call it a benevolent dictator.
That is what we need in this country, if we must fix this country.
Whoever we need, according to you, must still operate within our constitution.
We operate within our constitution.
The laws are there.
Not that you just lock, the laws are there. But where Zakzaki has been locked up, courts are saying free Zakzaki, we are refusing to free.
Dasuki.
Dasuki too has won several times in court.
Those are some of the minor.
They must operate within our law. Otherwise, it's not a democracy.
Yeah, but there are
some of the minor sins.
So you go back to even former President Obasanjo. He gave us the picture. He cut the picture of a benevolent dictator.
Yes, he did. He did.
Some of the actions that he took. For example, imposing state of emergency in states. He used 1963 law, antiquated law, a law that no longer exists. And Nigerians were just quiet.
But
today,
not because they wanted to be quiet.
No, they did. People, it was not challenged. Look, when you don't challenge, an injustice. Look, until someone like Keyamo went to court, that service chiefs should be brought before the Senate. We didn't know that it was wrong. Presidents will come, name service chiefs, and then they start working.
Because you came
until Keyamo went to court to say, no, Lagos State, you cannot continue to do environmental sanitation and keep people at home. And Lagos lost in 2 straight courts. Before they now on their own said, okay, no more sanitation. So until people begin to challenge certain things, Obasanjo was impeaching governors with 6 individuals. 6 lawmakers to impeach a whole governor. He did it to Dariye. He did it to the man. No, Fayoshe's case was different. It was an illegal impeachment that the Supreme Court, So, but impunity.
Even the Dariye zone was illegal. Because
that of Anambra, the Anambra governor, they sat in Asaba to impeach him, whereas they should have sat in their own chambers in the state capital.
The beauty of democracy is that when you make laws, you give laws the time to mature. Now, many of these things we didn't know.
Now
it is impossible.
You can't even do that state of
It
emergency
is impossible
anymore.
for a
No, you
Muhammadu
can do
Buhari
state of emergency
to say,
without-
I
but you
hereby
cannot
declare
remove
state of
any
emergency
governor.
in Lagos.
Unilaterally,
People will
yes.
say,
But you
stop
cannot
it.
remove any governor.
That
cannot
any
stand.
electoral, any elected officer.
But in the past, we
But
didn't
that
know.
was what he did.
Yeah, that was what he was
one
doing.
by one. But
So in the past, we didn't know that.
Yeah.
So we have sound lawyers, we have very, brilliant, legal minds in this country.
If they don't challenge
Nobody
them,
took it up.
you are closing your thoughts. A short evening.
No, my
I never
closing
knew-
remark is that, please, President Muhammadu Buhari, your administration has not come to an end because of, Obasanjo's letter. In fact, I learned you have responded. Thank Obasanjo, apart from responding publicly.
No.
Thank Obasanjo.
They are not prepared to thank Obasanjo. From what Alhaji Lai Mohammed is saying here, is describing the former
allow him
president.
to close your thoughts.
That
Really don't have
take
much time.
some of the points and work on them.
Yeah.
Some of the critics can be can serve as.
Yeah. And don't consider them criticisms, but catalysts for change. Yeah.
Well,
Ishmael?
yes, I think that in whatever language you want to describe Obasanjo, I want you to separate the message from the messenger, the same way we did under Jonathan. Now, if you separate the message from the messenger, you'll be able to sit down on your own and analyze the issues Obasanjo raised one after the other and see how you can address them. And I want to say again that the day
That's
you
your
start...
advice to the president.
That's my advice to President Muhammadu Buhari. And I want to say with emphasis that the day he starts addressing those issues one after the other,
Nigeria will be a better place.
It will reconnect with Nigerians.
I agree absolutely that the president needs to address the concerns that Obasanjo raised. Let them not look at who he is. The Yorubas will say, "Ema wo wa mi, Ema wo wa Obasanjo," but he said some valid things. The president should address those things. He spoke the mind of most Nigerians. Let's admit it. Whatever is sin, he spoke the mind of most Nigerians. The president should address the concerns of Nigerians. I don't think that it is right for Alhaji Lai Mohammed to say OBJ is ignorant, as they are already attacking him now. I advise them, don't attack him. Don't say what he has done is a distraction. He spoke like a normal Nigerian will speak. He spoke the truth. He spoke the mind of many Nigerians. So address those problems and your presidency will be better. These people condemning you today, if you take some solid steps, Nigerians, it's not difficult to please Nigerians. In no time, they will start praising you. That is what I want my president to do.
All right, then that will just about do it. But let me thank Adekule Yusuf for coming again.
It's my pleasure.
Ishmael Omikwidon.
thank you very much.
I've gotten it. And no less so, Babajide Kolade Otitoju.
I agree too.
All right, then, that will just about do it. But let's say this. It takes 60 seconds to be a hero. What do I mean by the president merely using 1 minute to make some pronouncements? All right, then, join us tomorrow for another interesting episode of the program. Watch a repeat broadcast this evening at 11, and also watch Journalist Hangout on other platforms showing on the screen and on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. Our feedback channel is Journalist Hangouts at tvcnews.tv. I am Citizen Jones Hussein. Bye-bye now.